Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. Today we have Casper Van Dien and Alice Lucy from the upcoming film Mad Heidi, which is doing a one-night theater event this coming June 21st across theaters across the whole country. So you guys are going to have to check this film out. It is highly entertaining, and I got to tell both of you guys, when I watched the film, I never check Rotten Tomato scores. Never. But I was curious to see what the critics who have seen it thought about it. This movie has a 90% score, you know? So it resonates with audiences far and wide, as it did with me. I want to welcome you both to the show. Thank you so much for being here, and we're going to talk about Mad Heidi. So I want to start with Alice. Now, when you first read this script, because this is a satire horror comedy, definitely. What were your thoughts when you read through the script?
My first thoughts were definitely this is absolutely bonkers. I think, I got sent the sort of synopsis of the film that even when I try and explain it now, it makes me laugh. And when I try and share with people what it's about, but I think, you could tell how much passion and how much thought had gone in to making this film and getting it to the point where it was where they'd asked me to audition. I thought I have to get involved. People that are this passionate, I want to meet and I want to get involved with.
I mean, I can imagine. So, what's your movie about? It's about cheese. It's about cheese, pretty much. Now, Casper, you have countless credits to your name. What was it like stepping into President Miley's shoes?
Uh, well, the script, when I got the script, it was like Al said, it's bonkers and wild, and I read it, and I love the Starship Troopers quotes and references in
Yeah.
it, and I was so thrilled with these filmmakers, and then they told me everything that they were doing. They were crowdfunding it. They were, all these people were on board. I loved the script. I loved that they were taking the Mad Heidi story, the Heidi story, the Heidi of the Alps story, and making it Mad Heidi. I just thought that was great, and I love that they wanted to be the first Swiss exploitation film ever. So I was thrilled with it, and I love all the commercials and the propaganda things that they did with it. I thought it was just. I think these guys were geniuses.
They were. They really were. And, crowdfunding films, there is a little disclaimer in the beginning of the film, which I thought was great. It adds to the aura of the film, letting you know that this is a crowdfunding film. It's sort of letting the audience prepare themselves for what they're about to watch. Like, you're about to go on a wild ride. Now, Alice, you play Heidi. We see Heidi go through three stages. She's in love when we first meet her, then she is imprisoned, and then we finally get to see warrior Heidi. How did you approach those three different aspects to your character?
I think Heidi was going on a journey throughout that film. It's very evident her arc is, quite clear in the emotional states that she's in. For me, having done predominantly theatre beforehand, where everything is shot in sort of chronological, performed in chronological order, this was not in any kind of chronological order whatsoever. So for me, I wanted to make sure that every day I turned up, I knew what scenes we were doing, and I knew what Heidi knew in that moment, because actually, if I'd have shot, something from the end of the film and then the next day we're doing something right at the beginning,
Hmm.
I can't carry that energy from the day before. So for me personally, as the actor, it was a massive learning curve on how to let go of things that you've done the day before. And you have to turn up fresh to set every day with just a new look on what you're going to do.
And get ready to face whatever is thrown at you that day.
Exactly. And there was a lot thrown at us.
Now, Casper, a lot of the film's satire is pointed towards World War II, Germany. You play the dictator, cheese, but it's in Switzerland. And well, funny, that's just funny in itself. Switzerland is like a neutral place. Uh,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on how the writers handled, World War II, Germany, and put it into this real spoofy satire setting?
Well, they wanted to make the first ever Swiss exploitation film. They're Swiss Germans. They wanted to poke fun at their own culture and their own people, and they wanted to do jokes that were personal to the Swiss, and do it in a way that was funny. I mean, they knocked it. When people are knocking the piss out of themselves, I love it. So when people can do that and they can have fun doing it, it's great. So I was thrilled to read this because the references to Starship Troopers were amazing, which was a propaganda war film too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it fit well within that theme for me. I thought they masterfully played it, and I wanted to try to do that with them. When they first called me for it, I was working on a German accent for dialect accent for another film, but then that film got pushed, so I then switched it over to Swiss German when I got offered this one. And then sometimes, occasionally, when I would do it, they go, Casper, that was too German. You have to do more Swiss. This is more like this, and they tell me what I had to do. But then I was doing it kind of like I didn't want to be as like a
Yeah.
I was throwing like trying, sometimes I would do it. And my dialect coach would say, that sounds like Tommy Wiseau. And I would go, perfect. And then he'd go, that sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I go, perfect. That's what I wanted. So I kept getting these different things. I didn't want to be 100%, you know.
Yeah, and that holds true for every character. You have some that speak straight up American English.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out where everybody's from, and everybody's from everywhere. Uh, Alice, do you think Heidi's motivations change from revenge to survival while she is imprisoned, or is revenge her constant, her main theme throughout the film?
I think Heidi's definitely a complex individual, and I think that having been, she's grown up, her grandfather's taken her away from, society, as it were, and has, that's what's led her, I think, to this initial rebellious streak. I think a lot in the beginning is confusion for her because it's now a world that she's entering into. Then, Peter's taken away from her, and there is that anger within her. But I think there's also a lot of anger towards where she doesn't know who she is or what she's doing or
Yeah.
what her surroundings really are because she's been so isolated. So I think there's definitely anger and revenge. I think that in the middle of the prison scene, it turns to survival,
Mm-hmm.
especially, she refuses to eat the cheese and she becomes very weak and musters the courage to escape. And I think then it leads back onto revenge. But there are a few moments in the script that were changed towards the end where actually Heidi becomes enlightened to the fact that it's not about revenge, it's about personal strength.
Mm-hmm.
That part of the script was taken out, but I hope that kind of still comes through. Is
It
that
does.
actually it's not about revenge, it's about personal strength. It's about finding your community of people to stand by your side, to go through life with. And I think that just towards the end, she finds that switch and isn't alone anymore.
And I'll tell you exactly where that comes through. It comes through in Heidi towards the end in the arena when she's in like that gladiator type arena, what you just talked about. That's where it came through for me. Now, Casper, do you have a different approach when you approach a satire comedy? Do you do stuff differently? Do you just go with it as you would any other role?
I've done so many different things over the years, and I've gone through different acting coaches my whole life, and different schools, acting schools, and everything like that. I've gone through everything. I've tried doing different ways. I just try to find what works best for each character at the time. This was a lot of fun to work on this one. It was a lot of fun to get in there and see the heart and soul of the people. And reading the script, it was just, it was very, the character just was speaking to me. And then
Yeah.
when they let me play with it, I was enjoying it. So this one was definitely a different process, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I was having the best time of my life.
Is that how you approach like the majority of your characters? Whether the movie is serious, horror, drama, you try to make it your own and have as much fun as possible with it?
Well, I mean, all theatricals are all plays, and we're supposed to play. And if we're not playing, we're not really doing our job. So my job is to actually try to bring the play to life
Yeah.
as whatever it is. Now, sometimes that's a character that is very not emotional. I did this one where it's called Assailant, and I just come after people, and I'm relentless. I'm like the Terminator in that one. And then I have other ones where I'm playing different kinds of characters. This one was somebody that could just it was just written different. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
it was, it was fun to play.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, so I was going to call you, I was going to call you by your last name, Lucy. Alice. This character, Heidi, it's very physical. It seemed very demanding on you physically from when you're in prison, especially onto the warrior scenes. When you were filming this, how much of a toll did it take on your body and the physicality of this particular role?
I think it depended on the day.
Hmm.
You know, there was, like I said about the chronology of shooting, there were days where we did the fight in the prison and we were on like a picnic bench, and because we shot it so many times, my whole leg was completely bruised. And then the next day I was shooting one of the first scenes of the film where actually I haven't been injured yet. So we had to spend 10 minutes in makeup covering up the bruises on my leg and making sure that continuity wise it made sense. But I feel very grateful that I actually got to use sort of my own martial arts skills in the film. I am a trained martial artist. I'm a second
Nice.
dan black belt in Taekwondo, so I got to bring that in, and it was definitely hard. I'd done a lot of preparation before going out to Switzerland to make sure that sort of stamina wise I was there. I didn't quite anticipate how heavy the halberd would be. That was a lot heavier than I thought. But no, yeah, I feel very grateful that I got to use those skills. But yeah, there were definitely days where I fell asleep very quickly.
Now, Casper, like we said earlier, the main theme of this movie is cheese. Okay, it revolves around cheese and the president's fascination with world domination with cheese. I mean, as silly as that sounds, it really works for this film. Now, the cheese itself, is it supposed to represent some kind of a message or a throwback, a satire to something, or is it just for the silliness of it? You know, let's just pick cheese, Switzerland, and let's make that the main theme of the movie.
You know, this the Swiss cheese thing, definitely. The Swiss have their cheese and their chocolates and their knives, and so they wanted, these filmmakers are all Swiss people. They wanted to make fun of themselves and also pay tribute to themselves and do their first Swiss exploitation film ever. And they wrote it that way, and it was so good. It was so good. I
Yeah.
couldn't even.
Outrageous.
I loved it. I was like,
I could tell you had so much fun with this. Alice, did you with Commandant Noor, okay? Your
Yeah.
scenes together are hysterical. It also looked like you two had a lot of fun shooting this together. What was it like working with Max Rudlinger was the actor who played it? What was that like? Was that fun or what?
Oh, it was a blast. He's so funny, as you know, I think he's brilliant as Knorr. Max as an individual is so wonderful to work with. He's a clown, he's an improviser, and you know, he's a trained clown, and he really brings that to set with him. And you know, often he made everyone laugh. That laugh that he does in the film was consistent throughout, but he would do that, you know, on and off set, you know, off screen, to make people laugh because he knew it would work.
I was trying to
Um,
figure out what was that he was smoking. Was that a cigar? It was crooked. And the thing that
yeah,
throughout the whole movie while he's trying to smoke this thing, I'm like, that's not a cigarette? Is that a cigar? I couldn't figure out what the hell that was. Now it's hinted that Heidi's story might not be over. Would you jump at the opportunity if this film is really, really successful, which I think it's going to be, and a call comes in that, hey, we're doing a sequel to this? Is that something that you would be all over?
absolutely. You know, Mad Heidi, for me, Heidi's journey's just begun. We've introduced the world of Mad Heidi to people now, and actually, I think in Mad Heidi 2 is where you'll get to the nitty gritty. And I'm sure the directors have got more cheese puns up their sleeve.
Before we go, Casper, I'm going to throw the last question to you. Like Alice said, the majority of her experience is in theater, several motion pictures under her belt. But what was it like working with Alice on the set? You know, tell us about the experience.
Okay, yeah. So I've been working for 35 years in this business, and you come in onto a movie like this, it's completely crowdfunded. All the investors are a lot of the investors were playing extras in it and or working on the crew, and then so it was such a family environment. But then you have your lead actress, the lead of the film, Alice, come in there, and she just was nailing out of the park. She was friendly and loving and supportive to everyone. It's the way you're supposed to be. She reminded me of old time Hollywood actresses that are, supposed to be, you just love them and everything. But she's added a new wave to it, and it was the personality was wonderful. So my wife was there. We both adopted her right away. We're like, she's ours. We want her. We love her. So we were grateful to have her on the film, and she was just always friendly,
Yeah.
and just an absolute gem to work with. So for me, I loved it. And I'm directing a movie this summer, and I'm going to try to steal her and get her in on it.
Awesome, awesome. And when it really comes through on the screen, when the actors, the crew really create an atmosphere that is conducive to creativeness, and that really comes through in this movie. You both did a fantastic job in your roles in this film. Again, to our audience, this is having a one night special theater event June 21st across theaters in the United States. Be sure to check it out.
And Canada, it's the Fathom event. So you can go on Fathom on your Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. You can see the Fathom event, and you can find a location for the theater near you. I'm going to go in St. Pete and watch it with my friends and family.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is a Fathom event. Thank you for reminding me of that. So you could go to Fathom's website, and I believe like on the East Coast, the start time is sometime like around 7 p.m. It literally is one showing across the U.S. and Canada. So if you want to see it on the big screen, you're going to have to check it out June 21st. Casper Van Dien, Alice Lucy, thank you both again for being our guests. Guys, thank you to our audience live and those who will be watching this later on. Go check out this film. It's going to take you on a wild ride, and you're going to just find yourself thoroughly entertained when it's done. Thank you for watching. On behalf of Casper, Alice, and myself, stay safe, stay walking. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, man. Thank you.